Inside New Orleans Sports with Eric Asher is underwritten by...
At Villere's Florist, we deliver the magic of flowers 7 days a week to the North Shore and South Shore in the New Orleans area. Whether it's for birthday parties, baby celebrations, Villere's provides colorful floral displays for all. With a store full of fresh-cut flowers, exotic tropical flowers, orchids, roses, and even fruit baskets, our goal is to make your vision a reality. Villere's Florist, proudly serving Louisiana since 1969. Mr. Ed's Oyster Bar and Fish House has been shucking here since 1979. Located at 3117 21st Street in Metairie, Mr. Ed's Oyster Bar and Fish House offers raw, fried, and grilled oysters, as well as a range of Cajun and Creole dishes. Enjoy a dozen with a smile.
Good evening, New Orleans, and welcome to Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Over the next hour, we're only talking Saints tonight, and you know why. The infamous no call. We'll talk about, again, what the Saints could have done, what they couldn't have done. We'll get also our panel's take on the offseason, the draft, as well as, again, free agency for the Saints, maybe some prospective free agents that they may go after. But again, it'll be a lot about what happened in the NFC Championship game. We got a great panel. Guys that are outspoken, guys that know what they're talking about, guys that always tell it like it is. Garland, Gillen of Fox 8 Sports and Gus Kattengell of ESPN 100.3 are on our panel tonight. Guys, welcome to the show. Garland, we start with you, my friend. Well, let folks know a little bit about what's going on over at Fox 8. But I got to tell you right now, I don't know what I'm going to do at 10:30 anymore because I have recorded every one of you guys' shows at 10:30. Yeah. And I don't catch them live, but I only go back and get them on a recording. I usually catch them that night, and I got to find something else to do at 10:30 now. So
Final Play will still be there on Sunday nights, and we're talking about keeping overtime, which was our new show that we just started this year at 10:35 on Tuesday. We're going to make a decision by the end of the week. We might keep that year-round because there's just so much going on with, even though the Saints are, the regular season, the postseason's done. I mean, the combine, we have Senior Bowl this week. The combines are right around the corner. Free agency starts in early March. It's 24/7. I mean, Sean Fazan, who I work with, we're churning out Saints content every day. And then LSU basketball is going to make the NCAA tournament this year. LSU baseball starts this weekend with practice. So it just keeps going and going. The cycle, the only dead period we have in New Orleans is pretty much into June, early July area, which we all take. Our department is completely empty. But other than that, I mean, training camp is in late July, so it's early July. That's it. So we could keep it going. So we got overtime on Tuesday nights. We're now Final Play on Sunday nights, and it's been a lot. It's been a long few days. I've gotten a lot of questions, so I feel like we got some stuff to talk about tonight.
Now again, 2 apps now, right?
Yeah, we have the Final Play app where we only do Saints. Now we have the Tiger Huddle app where we do everything LSU. Every sport is on there. I put a ton of interviews on there, whatever, and it's perfect timing with LSU basketball red hot right now. Indeed. And we put a lot of sound on there, video, Will Wade, and all that. And then LSU baseball starts tomorrow. We're gonna carry Maneri live. He's talking tomorrow at noon. We're going to have that live on our app. So we're really heavy in LSU and Saints right now.
And of course that great blog that you have.
Yeah, I gotta write something this week. I got a few.
You make me hungry every time I look at it.
Yeah, a lot of people come to me on my Facebook post there, and they're like, "How do you stay with you?" I'm like, well. I'm on the treadmill like every day. I watch documentaries on the treadmill because people are like, why do you work on the treadmill? It's the most boring thing in the world. And I said, well, I put documentaries on my iPhone. I watch long television shows. I watch a bunch of newscasts on my iPhone. So I kind of take my time and watch other things.
That's how you stay so fit.
There you go, treadmill.
No doubt about it. Gus, welcome back, my friend. I know it's been a raucous week for me. I'm sure it's been for you on your program. Talk a little bit about it.
I'm just impressed that he has documentaries on a treadmill.
Oh, yeah.
A sports package might be the length of my treadmill. I do the 5-minute warm-up. I tell you, just the way this week is sort of gone, I feel like eating and drinking. You know, so maybe I need to go check out, see what Garland's
hang out with this guy then.
I mean, I got a birthday dinner to go make up at some point, so there's a lot to talk about. As Garland just sort of mentioned, what he's doing, I'm trying to do 12 to 3, and then you're never really off. You always just kind of following it on social media the way it is now with Facebook. You can go live and just talk about a game or something, but it's crazy because we know this, obviously, with what we do, guys. In our city, there is no dead period because there are a ton of questions on what the Saints are going to do from here on out. I know you said Saints only, but we could do a probably hour on what the future of the Pels are because I don't know what the future is with that and what you do.
We will have you guys back to do that for
sure.
I
mean, again, we can talk, obviously, with Tulane. You will know what they're doing.
LSU hot, as he mentioned.
LSU is ridiculous right now. I love Will Wade getting ticked off even though they won.
Yes.
So there's so much, and he mentioned baseball. What are they, like top 5, right? Number 1, something
either
like that?
one or number 2 in every single preseason
so there you go.
baseball.
I mean, that's exciting because we all know around here it's football, maybe basketball at some point, but
like
baseball, right?
Like
exactly, right. But for the most part, so yeah, man, 12 to 3 doing that. I still do women's basketball play-by-play for the ladies and
over Tulane.
Yeah, and we had a bowl win for football since I last saw you.
Congratulations.
So it's nice.
Yeah, I bet it was, no doubt about it. All right, guys, let's kick it off. NOLA no call. It's the no call heard around the world. Garland, I'll take you first. Your thoughts?
The referee just made a mistake. I know we got lawsuits going right now. I know everybody wants Roger Goodell to talk. He's going to talk next Wednesday in Atlanta during the Super Bowl festivities. So that's when he's going to talk, and he's going to. The media can ask him whatever they want. There's not a lot of other issues going on in the NFL right now. Possibly only Oakland Raiders if they're going to stay in Oakland, but for the most part, that's what he's going to get peppered on nonstop next Wednesday is about the Saints no call. I will say this: a lot of people are telling a lot of the national media and people around the country telling Saints fans just to give it up. You know what? I think it's just therapeutic. Okay, like just let them deal with it in their own personal way. Okay, as long as no one's getting hurt physically, no one's asking to physically harm these referees, but they're suing the NFL and they're having city council meetings and the governor and our elected officials are chiming in. Just let them do it, man. It makes people feel good. It lets them get out their anger and frustration. So, because I've been seeing a lot on Twitter, like even Akeem Hicks chimed in, like, move on. You know, dude, just let New Orleans do what New Orleans wants to do. Okay, they're going to handle it in their own special way, and this is how they're doing it right now. I mean, I saw Chop at the city council meeting today. Sure, why not? If it makes you feel good, and this is how it gets out, it's therapeutic. So I'm fine with all of it.
All right, Gus.
You know, it's interesting. When you look at, there's so much to say on that call, right? I mean, you're talking about the reaction and the response, and that probably comes from not hearing anything. And on today's show, I was like, okay, well, to the fans, what is it that you want to hear? What can you hear? Nothing's going to appease you. You're not going to replay. So what do you want to hear? And for the most part, Garland and Eric, what we got was, you want to hear some sort of admission of fault. You want to hear some sort of, we're going to do our best to kind of do it, and to repair it, maybe look forward, maybe some sugarcoating of y'all are a great fan base, we love your passion, you know. But here's the thing, to the NFL, and are we surprised? We've seen this with domestic violence case where players have shorter time than if you get popped for weed or steroids or something. Sure. The NBA, which I know you say we're not talking about, and the NFL is so different on how the commissioner and the league office is viewed in their owners, right? From their players and even their fans. Adam Silver seems like somebody you can tweet and talk to. They have, their referees actually have a Twitter account that you can now tweet at them during a game. They encourage you. They want you to. Ask us about calls. Do you think there's a good call, no call? The NFL is, shh, you don't even know who they are. So I get it from that standpoint. When you look at the call, it's remarkable that the Saints are going to be probably involved in one shape, form, or fashion of maybe changing, tinkering, or doing something to a rule or something like they did in 2009, right? Brett Favre didn't get in the Super Bowl. The NFL went, no, we can't have that. Each team gets the ball down in overtime. I call it the Garrett Hartley rule. It changed because of that play. So what changes now? Is it things are more challengeable, which is what I think it's something you can do, right? Maybe you give the coaches an extra challenge. Challenge plays like what we saw in Kansas City, roughing the passer. Tom Brady's shoulder pads got hit. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down, continues a drive they score on. Is it I think that's a pass interference, I have a challenge left, I want to use it. Does that happen? You know, you hear John Elway and you hear Stephen Jones from the Cowboys. They're out there. I call them fuddy-duddy, fearsome people. You know, the world is flat. Let's not sail. This whole thing where the game's going to fall apart. And stop it, okay? We've tried different rule changes in preseason. Try it there. If you try it the first year with an extra challenge that doesn't work, you don't do it. Like, you can't be scared to do it, but I think that's where all this comes from the city council to politicians doing it. I think they just wanted to hear at some point, whether it's 5 minutes after a game, the Goodell says, hey, that's a mistake, that's an error. This is a game based on human judgment. We will do our best to train our officials better. We love the fan base of New Orleans. They're a Super Bowl city 10 times. We appreciate them. You know, our game is about errors and mistakes and overcoming them. We'll do better. Just something like that. It wouldn't have got you the win back, but to hear silence from a fan base, and to what Garland's point saying why for us, maybe Akeem Hicks can't deal with it, because they just did it a year before and saw the Minnesota Miracle. And they did it in 2011 and got their hearts broken. And they still to this day feel that Bountygate was absolutely a BS PR ploy for the NFL to skirt out of getting and having to pay concussion protocol or concussion lawsuit. So, yeah, it is different here because it's a fan base that absolutely feels the league's against them. Right. So if you have that, dude, just come out with a PR statement. I mean, and I think that's what upsets a lot of people.
Guys, I agree with both of you on the silence from Park Avenue right now. I think it's got people riled up more than anything else. This Rule 17 situation and trying to walk this thing back and restarting the game at that point, that's ridiculous at this point. I mean, if you're level-headed and you're looking at this, you got to realize that's not going to happen. That's why, again, as far as the lawsuit goes, I mean, this is the base of the lawsuit. Mental anguish, emotional trauma, loss of faith in the NFL, loss of enjoyment of life, loss of entertainment, and distrust of the game. Please, okay? If the attorney that filed this lawsuit would have looked at the next section, he would have realized that Rule 17 does not have anything to do with, again, overturning a call from an official. Zero. Again, it's about something devastating happened. You know, I mean, you go through some of the litany of the things that could happen. The petition, I get it. You know, it is what it is. It's not going to go anywhere. The billboards, I think, much like the
I kind of like the billboards. They make me laugh.
It made me laugh, but I think it's self-serving. Yeah. If the individual who put the billboard up would have really put the billboard up, again, for Saints fans, he wouldn't have put his name at the bottom of it, okay? He's a car dealer, and he put his name under it,
brilliant,
okay?
Brilliant,
okay, no, great marketing,
exactly
okay? No doubt about it. Taking advantage of the situation. But people are getting sucked up into this. You know, the boycotts of the Super Bowl. Look, as long as it doesn't hurt the drinking and eating establishments and the grocery stores in this town that make a lot of money on Super Bowl, you know, if you want to watch something else, it's America. Do it. That's fine. I would hate to see us, again, be deprived economically of, again, something that people are looking at every year, you know, bonanza of, you know, Super Bowl Sunday, and then not getting that. That is hurting our own selves for that. This draft pick compensation stuff, come on. You know, they're not going to give, if they give the Saints a draft pick, they'll have to give every team a draft pick from this point forward that, again, has a bad call going against them. And then, of course, the conspiracy theory of they wanted LA in the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any doubt, I guess you guys would agree. They would love to have LA win the Super Bowl, okay? But I don't think there's a conspiracy to get it done. When you look at moving the NFL headquarters, having NFL headquarters west, okay, they're building in Los Angeles, the multi-billion-dollar stadium, the fact that LA fans could care less about football. Right. They're only worried about LeBron James right now. They only follow champions there, and you got to get a champion to even get on the radar. There's two teams in LA right now, neither one, the fan base could care about either one. People there could care less. This will maybe put them on the radar if they win a championship. But I don't think there was a conspiracy there. You know, and then the parade, which is, again, I get it. Look, we second line and parade for everything.
Everything. When a po' boy gets made, they have a second line.
Do you want to cheapen the 2010 championship parade, which was one of the greatest parades in the history of championship parades? Yeah. Okay, you could match it up against any other city anywhere. Do you want to cheapen that by having a parade for the NFC South champions? I mean, first of all, the players are gone. Yeah. They're not coming back. Okay, and they probably wouldn't want to participate in something like that. You want to have a second line to put this thing to bed? Have at it. Okay, we have a second line for everything, as you mentioned. So I think it's gotten a little bit overboard. And that's where I kind of stand, and where I've stood on my show this week is I'm hurting like everyone else. We're all native New Orleanians. We don't get into this profession unless you love sports, you played sports. Again, you like being around sports, you watch sports. So again, we're hurting as much as everyone else in this community, everyone else that's a Saints fan. But some of this stuff is just a little bit over the top.
I will say Tracy's is pretty smart in their advertising there. They're going to show the old Saints Super Bowl 44.
Super Bowl 44, right.
They're not going to put the game on, and they've gotten some good publicity out of it. I've seen it on our nightly news, you know. And so Frank D'Amico, you make a good point with this guy in Atlanta with the billboards. Some people are starting to self-serve them, you know. Yeah. But some people I like Tracy's is doing that. You know, there's a few other places. I'm actually fine with the boycott bowl that they're having concert.
No problem.
And they're giving all the money to Nord.
There you go.
Yeah,
no
so
problem
they're giving it to the recreation department.
As long as we keep turning the money over in our economy, we're not going to hurt people that are been planning for this all season long, whether the Saints were in it or not. Yeah. Okay, that to me is, again, let's not hurt ourselves here.
Yeah, I think it's just the whole feeling and sense that it's a wasted opportunity. You know?
Right.
And people are, it's the finality of it. It's done. So it's
like last year.
It. Like
only different.
You haven't made it out the dome, and the next game in the AFC Championship game is well underway. It's over. It's done. I do think it does show some creativity. That is what New Orleans is known for. Hey, let's do a bowling alley thing. Let's do a concert. Let's do a benefit. Let's try to do that and try to take, which is something that I think we're really good at in the city, something that's devastating, and turn into a positive and make us stronger. And I think that's what you're trying to get at. I think the resolutions, the politicians talking to bring maybe attention to it, but you can toe that line of, hey, we got messed over, and okay, guys, enough, you know, sort of thing, because it goes down to this point, as Garland said, he missed it. I don't think he went out there and said, this play, this moment, aha, got you, because he used to play for the Rams. There's another guy from Middle. Again, though, that goes back to Park Avenue. In a law case, I mean, we talked about this when they were trying to do the Supreme Court judge, right? Anybody that has anything to do with somebody recuses himself. So you have a ton of referees. Why have anybody with any LA ties on there?
I would agree with that.
So, I mean, I get that. And then I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm just being honest, right? And it's something I brought up on our show, Garland and Eric. What if it's the other way around? What if it's P.J. Williams taking out Todd Gurley? No call. Saints wind up winning, $147 to go there and tie it and do that. What are Saints fans doing today? What are Saints fans?
They're ready to go to Atlanta.
They're laughing. That's what I'm saying. They're not saying the integrity of the game and all that. So I get it, because the drive before, it could have been 24-20. They did miss a call that could have been called pass interference. Here's what we saw, and again, it goes back to the Friday before the game. When Wade Phillips comes out and says, we're going to be physical, I said right then and there when I saw that tweet pop up, this is going to come down to how the officials officiate the call. Because the Rams, and they had a petition to try to remove Vinovich, because they thought Vinovich was against them.
All-Star crew,
right?
They thinking it's Vinovich's crew, which they had not won a game this year.
They were 0-8 against them, right? And they thought he was completely against the Rams. So that's, I don't know if Saints fans know that.
He lives in San Diego,
right?
By the way.
There was a petition to remove them because Rams fans thought that he was out to get them. So. And they were what? They were top 3 crew and calling pass interference and roughing the. So what did you expect? They kept the flag in. McVay said it after the game. You know, they let them play. There was tussling all over. I saw plenty of GIFs and pictures of Ted Ginn Jr.'s shoulder pads being held. And so, again, that call, yes, did it determine it? We can sit here for 20, 30 minutes. I'm sure you guys did on Final Play too. There were enough things in that game where the Saints could have done it to where that call wouldn't have affected.
I would agree. I want to go back to again, you mentioned the politicians. To me, it's pandering, okay? Because, look, Scalise, Richmond, very powerful right now in the Congress. Maybe not as powerful as Hale Boggs was back in the day when, again, it was worked out that the antitrust exemption was expanded, and, of course, the city got the team. But to come out and say, we want another Super Bowl because of this. We have the 2024 Super Bowl. You're not going to give us back-to-back Super Bowls. That's not happening, okay? And then Richmond coming out yesterday and saying, well, I think I might have to bring you before the Judiciary Committee and check out the antitrust
You know what? Hey, I'm in for making this guy, even if he's uncomfortable for a day.
You know? No, I get it. We don't like Roger Goodell, but how productive is that when you have a government shutdown? How productive is it for the governor of Louisiana to put his 2 cents in, the city council, now the mayor? Hey, we got big, like I said on the program today, we got 1,000,001 problems. And the no call isn't one of them when it comes to, again, leading our country, leading our state, leading our city.
But they don't do it anyway.
Okay? But no, it's about pandering. They see an opportunity. Right. It is about pandering, okay? And that's the issue here. Let's get back to the call itself. If someone was on a breakaway layup with time running out to win a game, and you dove at that individual and you knocked him into the stands, expecting him to have to take 2 free throws and there was no call, people would be outraged. If, again, you interfered with a throw on a base runner, whether throw in the home or whatever, with 2 outs left, and again, you went out of your way on the baseline to interfere, again, and there was no call, people would be outraged. This was a call where, again, it doesn't matter where it was, what it was, but again, being at the time it was, you cannot keep your flag in your pocket for a call like that. It is, first of all, it's helmet to helmet. There's been an emphasis on the NFL for helmet to helmet all season long. Second of all, again, it was pretty clear, and Nikhil Roby-Coleman has said, hey, he was out of position. He was just trying to get to stop the play so that there would be a flag thrown. It's incumbent upon the official, as it is with a referee, as it is with an umpire, to be able to make that call at that time.
I think it was a good play call, okay? I know last national media, like, why are you going to do that play call? But it worked twice with Kamara. Mm-hmm. Kamara's been getting double teamed. Right. So the element of surprise using Tommy Lee Lewis. I actually like the play call. I know a lot of people were bagging on the first down call with Breeze. Right. You know, if you watched the play, if he hit him, it was a touchdown.
It's a touchdown. Or at least, again, a first down.
Yeah.
And for those that don't, guys, you know this because you've watched it. 9 in the box, right? Mm-hmm. Ginn's got the corner that's covering him. He's got him picked at that point. So
it was a touchdown.
It was.
And you expect Breeze to make that play, and he didn't make it. So I know a lot of people, even if they ran the ball, I still think the Saints would have got. I mean, the Rams would have got the ball back with like a minute to go. Mm-hmm. That's un-Sean Payton-like to just run the ball 3 times up the middle. That's just not who he is. He's never going to be that way. So I know a lot of people are bagging on the first down call. If you go back and watch it, they could have scored a touchdown there. I have no problem with any of the play calls they made. And then when he ran the second down, they got stuffed. So when you talk about the call, and I know we talked about right before the show, with this crew, the all-star crew, we just get rid of it. Yes. Okay, just throw it out the window. It's like telling me that, you know what, it's the playoffs and you've worked with Juan Kincaid and Sean Fazan and Chris Hagan, who are my coworkers all year. And then, you know what, for the playoffs, this is huge, Garland. We're bringing in Lee Zurich, John Snell. We're bringing in our all-star cast for Fox 8, and y'all are going to talk sports. It doesn't work. Keep the same crew. And I know they talked about it a lot all week. It was one mistake by this guy, but I think both the line judge, the back judge, and the side judge both should be fired. They say it's one mistake. There's so many job fields that we're very familiar with that if you make one mistake, and it's a big one, you get fired.
We're in that business, right? Absolutely. We're in that business.
It's interesting. You were talking a little bit about the play calls and everything, and it goes into it, and then just the call itself. I think what's remarkable that I've kind of looked at it in 2 areas. So the call itself, you can't have better looks at it. You have 2 officials in which the play is sandwiched in. So if I objectively try to say, how do you make that call? And throw the conspiracy theory out, okay? Right, sure. There's only one thing that logically explains what I saw. And it all goes to being blown. They never saw the football. Did it get lost because it's a dark brown ball in the background? They could have never seen the football. It's impossible. When you see the official on the Saints sideline closest to him, right, the video that we've all seen, the famous one, where the play's coming at you, you see the official afterwards say, bang, bang. Bang, bang, meaning it's a bang, bang play to him, meaning the ball and the defender got there at the same time.
Agreed.
the ball's 2 yards away from them. So he couldn't have seen the football. His eyes probably were on the play or somewhere else. And then as the play happened, he saw the contact, saw the ball at the feet of Tommy Lee Lewis, bang, bang, play. Because you see him initially reach for the flag, which I'm going to get to the point that you're talking about, that we have seen, like we have in the last several years, the NFL tell officials do not blow a play dead. Remember the inadvertent whistle?
Yes.
That's done now, essentially, right? They let it go, even if it looks like it's not a fumble. Then you'll see the official run all the way with the other guy, touchdown, then they'll go discuss or review it.
Sure.
Play was dead, but they no longer blow the whistle. Throw it a flag. We saw earlier in that game a flag get picked up.
Right.
Throw it a flag, and then you discuss it. What did you see? What did you see? What did you see? Did anybody else see it? And while that's happening, peek up at the screen. They do that all the time, right? But he didn't throw the flag, so the mechanism never even was allowed to start. You meant, and the other judge here on the white part of the sideline, also, how do you not see the ball? It's coming at you. He had to not have seen a ball. He must have seen the defender and Tommy Lee, and then now the ball's behind them. So you have both officials that look to be in great position. They never saw the ball. It's impossible. It's impossible to say that. And you brought up baseball and basketball. And the two plays you brought up, as you were saying it, they have mechanisms where replay fixes it, okay? Because if a person gets thrown into the bench, like you said in basketball, what are they going to review, Garland? If that was a flagrant foul, and they can call a foul, okay? They can do it retroactively. You're talking about in and outside of the base pass. What would they have done? Gone to replay and seen. They've done it in the playoffs this past year.
Absolutely.
So both sports that you talked about, the play that you gave, have replay mechanisms to correct that.
Yep, no doubt. And the NFL does not. To your point about not seeing the ball, there still was helmet-to-helmet contact. Helmet-to-helmet, you can't miss helmet-to-helmet contact, okay? And then it's been an emphasis from the NFL all season long. It wasn't the only helmet-to-helmet contact. Corey Littleton had 2 helmet-to-helmet contacts on him that weren't calling that game. I'm not saying the Saints didn't have any, but they had 2. They want to go back to the inadvertent face mask by Klein. I get it. It would have put the Rams at the 1 yard line if that's called. There were plenty of missed calls in that game. It's just if you're going to make an emphasis all season long on helmet-to-helmet contact, and that's the PI, again, that is, I get it. Judgment call, one way or the other. Helmet-to-helmet, not.
Oh, you make a great point on that one. To get 2 calls wrong on one play is just. I'm with Peyton. Sometimes can overreact and get a little too worked up. I'm all in on that one. I mean, I actually applaud him for being not more just.
I would have went ballistic.
I mean, the whole. I was on the field when the play happened, and I mean, Jesus, they were throwing towels all over the ground. Mark Romick came on and was like, "Please stop throwing things on the field." It's a bad Mark Romick impression, by the way. But anyway, you get my point there. Sure. I'm amazed that the Saints fans didn't get more out of control, and Sean Payton more out of control.
Right. Well, they did move the officials to another hotel.
Yeah, that was a good story.
I mean, again, but then the NFL. Let's get past it. First of all, Nicole Roby-Coleman has admitted it. He admitted it to the Washington Post. Now he's gone on social media and is boasting about it. Yeah. Okay. Now the NFL's watching this, right? I mean, I don't know how you ignore this. Okay. He is boasting about what he did.
Has he gotten fined yet?
No, and that's the key here. Okay. Today. On the Dan Patrick Show, Mike Florio from NBC Sports, we all respect what he does.
Oh, yes.
He said the NFL had crafted a comment, okay? They had crafted a statement, an apology, on Sunday night, and they were going to put that out. And then by Monday morning, they had walked that back, okay, that they weren't going to do this. Florio also spoke about the possibility of, again, the first of all, they started leaking what they were going to do to specific news media members. And of course, he believes, after listening to the cut today that I had on the show, that maybe Nicole Roby-Coleman may not be fined, because if he is fined, then again it's an admission of guilt, and again it taints the Rams in the Super Bowl, and again they don't want that. How can you not fine him after everything that has happened at this point? How can you ignore that? Now the question is, and I think you made a great point, Gus. He hasn't said a word, meaning Goodell. He has no choice on Wednesday. He
Right.
will be peppered on Wednesday.
No doubt he will.
With again, and have to answer. The question is, and I'm a little bit surprised, guys, that it hasn't happened yet. I fully expected the officials to be either sanctioned or fired. That would have been the first move. And then, of course, fines coming down for all those that were involved in helmet-to-helmet contact on Sunday. But we haven't seen anything. And I think that is what is upsetting the fan base more than anything else, the silence from Park Avenue.
I want to say, and I'll let you go, Garland, but I want to say about a week or two ago, ULM had a bad thing, and just, I don't know why it just popped in my head. I saw it on Twitter, but the Sun, because I get the Sun Belt, you know, I get like emails about them.
They email a lot.
Right. Well, but they took away and they reprimanded and took off officials and said they're done for an egregious call in the basketball game. I didn't see it. I tried to find out what happened, but apparently it cost somebody a game. And they came out, the Sun Belt Conference.
Right.
And that, by no means am I ripping the Sun Belt. But I'm just saying.
Who's headquartered in New Orleans, by the way.
But that's what I'm getting at. They came out and said these officials blew it so bad and it affected the game. I can probably pull it up on my phone, the correct wordage. But it said it affected the outcome of a game, and we can't have it. They're out. They're no longer officials for the Sun Belt. If the Sun Belt Conference can do it, it's shocking the NFL can't.
Shocking.
Let me tell you something. What if he goes Rafael Palmeiro or Mark McGuire next week and says, I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk about this super. Right. What if he just, what if he walks around that answer?
Right.
He's dealt with a ton of issues in the past. I think he's going to address it, but the NFL doesn't care.
Right. Well, they've already admitted the mistake to Peyton immediately after the game.
Right.
But they have not admitted it again to the rest of the world on what happened. And not just that, I don't think people need to hear, okay, we messed up. They want to see action. They want to see the next thing. And when we're going to go to break, when we come back, I want to talk about what the NFL can do, okay, to be able to rectify this situation. Also, again, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with the All-Star Cruise. We'll get into some Saints future as well. All that coming up here on Inside New Orleans Sports. Great panel tonight. Garland, Gillen of Fox 8 Sports, Gus Kattengell of ESPN 100.3. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Hang there.
Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration has been family-owned and operated since 1989. Burkhart has energy-efficient solutions and offers brands such as Mitsubishi ductless AC units and Amana, the only manufacturer with a lifetime unit replacement warranty. Burkhart's offers maintenance bundle packages that include servicing your AC, generator, and tankless water heater. For more information on the services Burkhart's provides, visit acpromise.com. Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration, providing comfort for life.
Located at 3701 Iberville Street in Mid-City is Katie's Restaurant and Bar. Open 7 days a week, Katie's offers daily specials for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Serving New Orleans cuisine such as fried shrimp platters, grilled redfish, and a fully stocked bar. And don't forget about our expanded event seating and local entertainment. Featured on the Best of Food Network's diners, drive-ins, and dives, Katie's Restaurant and Bar.
Welcome back to Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Tonight on the panel, Gus Kattengell of ESPN 100.3, Garland Gillen of Fox 8 Sports. Guys, let's talk about what they can do, okay? It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Adding more officials. I mean, the game has gotten so much faster, adding more officials. Full-time officials. Why is this the only league with no full-time officials? I mean, full-time officials. Instant replay, okay? Again, expanding instant replay. And then the other part of this, which I think really kind of irks a lot of New Orleanians. You mentioned the All-Star crew. 3 individuals on that crew, and this is an All-Star crew. That means they consciously put this crew together. Right. 3 individuals on that crew were from the Southern California area, from the Los Angeles area. I don't believe there was a conspiracy. But those guys got to work there. They got to live there. They got to go to church there. They probably have a business there. The NFL should have been smarter than to put 3 individuals from Los Angeles on a crew that is officiating a Saints Los Angeles Rams game, and that would be another part of it. You know, again, expand your officiating crew. So again, you don't have this conflict anymore. Go on your thoughts.
Well, your news on the competition committee is Sean Payton.
Yes.
And anything that they want to bring up going forward is going to be happening at the owners' meetings, which are in late March in Phoenix. So those are going to be interesting because now Sean Payton's going to have 2 months to think about what he wants to bring out in the competition committee. I think there's going to be some definite movement. You make a good point on the more referees. That's a great idea.
You don't want to over-officiate a game, but you don't want to miss a call like you see.
Yeah, it's going to be tough with this pass interference call. I mean, there was nothing called, so I don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
What they're going to do with instant replay.
Right. How do you replay a no call?
I mean, Sean Payton is one of the brighter minds when it comes to the NFL. I guarantee him and Mickey Loomis are crafting something up here that they want to push in front of the NFL. I will say this: the reason Goodell hadn't said anything yet is because he answers like only to 32 people, 32 owners. And if he's got one owner of the 32 disappointed, he likes those odds. So if it's not like a Ray Rice situation where it's a domestic violence or something that's going to affect the whole league, it's only affecting one team in his mind, I'm sure. And you know, he's a lawyer. I mean, my father's a lawyer. I'm not bagging on lawyers, but they just they do what they want. And then when he finally gets to talk to in Atlanta, he's going to push it around back on the reporters.
Right. Now, my question, does it affect the integrity of the game, though? I mean, isn't the integrity of the game at stake at some point here? With everything that's that's kind of swirling around this.
They've already been bashed on integrity a ton of times. Like, no one's really ever had the full faith in the NFL. It's just so popular with fantasy football. Now we have legal gambling in 10 states right now in the country. It's the daily fantasy. It is a huge monster right now when it comes to all the things that go along with it with gambling. That's why the popularity is going to continue with the NFL.
Gus, your thoughts on rule changes? And does this affect the integrity of the game?
Along those lines of what Garland's saying, they've been able to handle domestic violence, domestic abuse, the national anthem thing. I mean, they didn't handle that. They still haven't handled that well. They're being sued for collusion, and ratings went up this year.
Yeah.
So, to his point, you can say, well, it's the integrity of the game. And again, that's why I said earlier in our opening segment, what if it's on the other end, right? I mean, the Saints were affected by this. You have Akeem Hicks and the Bears going, stop crying. It didn't affect them. So we're seeing it maybe a little bit differently than others. In terms of the changes you can do, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. I don't think it's as difficult as it is. I mean, you have the mechanisms there already in place. I mentioned 2 sports that already did it. So I'm just going to take the 2 things that you suggested or you said are kind of along the lines there. More officials. You have the officials. The one official that can overdo it that you do have, more than officials rather, is cameras, right? So the bigger games get more cameras, more camera guys on the sidelines, pylon cam. Right. I mean, which I think every NFL game should have pylon cam. Right? So you can see all of that down the sidelines. So you have multiple cameras. You have the camera on top that floats around on wires and stuff, right? Magically. So you know what you simply do? Because the mechanism exists now when it comes to concussions. What can the replay official or there's an official in the booth.
Right, that's just watching.
That can do what? Buzz and say, that guy looks a little dinged. He looks a little slow to get up.
Right.
Buzzes down to the official. The official stops play and can do that. That exists right now.
Right now.
So you tell that official if there's a play.
So you expand it then.
That same official, hey, if you see something that's agreed. Now, again, you have to define it. Is it under 2 minutes? Is it a game determining? I mean, I need language, okay, so he can do it. But it's there. All he has to do, he doesn't even have to make the call because New York has the final say, like in the NBA, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Okay, exactly. So you took it out the crew's hands. All he has to do is say, I think this should be up for review. That's it.
Right.
Then that official in the white hat goes, we need to go to New York real quick. New York makes the call.
College game does it now.
College does it right now. If there's anything that has to do with the concussion or something, so the mechanism's already there. Helmet. Same thing.
Right.
All the official has to do in the replay booth that sees it, because he can see it on the camera better than on the ground.
Right.
Guys, Garland, I think you guys need to send it to New York. That's it. And it's done. It doesn't take any longer than that. While the play's being called, he can see it. We see it instantly after the play happens. That person sees this too. You've been in a Tulane booth or any college at LSU. There's a room with a bank of monitors where the replay official sits there.
Right.
They see it at the best view. So I don't think we need a ton more officials. I don't think we need. The other thing is, as I said earlier, just add a challenge. Add a challenge, say specifically pass interference or roughing the passer, which are game-changing, drive-changing calls. If you need to and feel the need that you can, challenge, I'm throwing the flag. I think that was pass interference. In Kansas City, I'm throwing the flag, Andy Reid. I think he hit his shoulder pad. Done. Period. End of story. It's not difficult.
Guys, this is Super Bowl legitimate?
It's in a great Sean Payton way. I'm gonna say it is what it is. It's the Rams against the Patriots. Sooner or later we're just gonna. They can fight it as much as they want in New Orleans, but I guess a lot of fans are going to be cheering for the Patriots next week.
Yeah, probably so.
One other thing we talked about the competition committee. It's fresh in my head, so I want to get out there. It didn't affect the Rams-Saints game, but a lot of there's a difference between college and NFL writers, and there's always some snarkiness going back and forth. And then when when LSU played A&M, a lot of the professional writers made fun of college football, that they went 7 overtimes and this is ludicrous. But you know what? At least I got to see those 2 quarterbacks fight out in overtime. They need to change
the overtime rule.
Overtime rule. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks that the NFL has right now. He's probably going to win the MVP award. To not have him play in overtime, I know this has benefited the Saints
before. Play a full quarter?
Just at least one possession apiece, man. I don't, what injury problems? Is that what they're worried about? Like too many injuries?
They're worried about the time of the game.
I want college. I want college style.
You want college in the
I absolutely want college style.
I don't want college, but I want one possession each.
Yeah, but
that needs to change. That's the other thing that's going to need to change. They're going to have to fix this PI problem and what they're going to do going forward with referees and how many they are. And one other thing you pointed out that I don't know if we're going to get to, but full-time referees.
Full-time refs.
I think the NFL is just cheap.
Right.
They don't want to pay.
It's a multi-billion-dollar business.
Right, I hear you.
Because you got to pay. Right. Now you have to pay them.
Right.
401ks possibly, and health insurance. They're not paying any of that right now.
How much of a percentage is that?
Which is why I said you just expand the replay official so you can buzz in to get it reviewed. Here's why I say I like the college because it's determined. It's in there. Everyone does get a chance to get the football that way. Right. And if you sit there where it makes it too easy because the NFL guys, you do it. In college, you eventually have to go for 2. I know the kickers are somewhat better. We've seen kickers this year in the NFL miss kicks that look like chip shots. And more importantly, and again, while you were asking, is it legitimate, illegitimate?
Is it?
Well, guess what the Saints didn't do after the Ted Ginn play? Get a yard.
Right.
From the 13.
Right.
So you can technically say if both teams get it from the 25, it's going to be touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. The teams get it after a kickoff right now, and it's flag football. What's the difference? Defense can make a play. Defense cannot make a play. I think it is legitimate based on this. 2 things would have to change for it to not. It would have to have been in the last 4 seconds or so where the Saints couldn't have kicked the game-tying or go-ahead field goal, and the Rams would not have gotten the ball back.
Right.
Okay? The Rams had 1:47 at the end of the day. The Saints defense could have stopped them. The Saints got the football in overtime. The Saints got the football first in overtime and could have ended it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, what did the Rams do after that play? They drove the length of the field and kicked the game-tying field goal.
Right.
They stopped Drew Brees and the Saints offense, getting an interception by getting pressure on him. Then they drove enough and kicked a 57-yarder. It wasn't 7, it wasn't 17, it wasn't 27. It was a 57-yarder. They won the game. They scored at the end of the half. They held the Saints to 6 points when it probably should have been 14 or 10.
Yes.
So, yes, it is legitimate. You may not like the taste. Did the call affect the outcome? Possibly. But the Saints didn't make the most plays. The Rams did.
Couldn't agree with you more. I think it's one of the things that's been lost in the hysteria of the fan base in the city right now. The Saints had a chance to win this game.
Yeah.
It didn't end on that play. They had a chance to win the game.
Yeah, they had first possession. Another problem, and also I'm sure Eric and Gush touched on this week, the interception by Brees. Why did they not review it? Because he got it was pass interference, and at least throw the flag, and then you could review it after.
Right.
If the ball is touched at the line of scrimmage and you can hit
right.
You can hit
tipped,
you can hit but Brees the ball wasn't tipped. He just got hit.
He got his arm hit, and there was contact to the helmet, which we've seen in the past has been called. Now again, Goff got the face mask early, and It would have put a lot of pressure on the Saints if they scored a touchdown from the 1.
But what did he just say? It's the same thing. They blew calls everywhere.
Just throw the flag.
They didn't want to throw the flag.
Right. They were hold. They didn't want to.
I think this crew didn't want to be the issue for it, and they wound up being it. But you just said two flags could have been thrown on that one play, and they didn't throw it in that one. That's why I'm saying it was a poorly officiated game on so many levels.
Well, and also again a game where as we said, they let them play. Look, it probably would have been the Saints' favor if they could have stayed. They could have kept up with the Ram receivers. It was the opposite again for the Rams, who were able to keep up with the Saints receivers. I'm not giving the officiating a pass.
No,
it was bad officiating, but again, the Saints had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation and in overtime. All right, guys, you got the Minnesota Miracle, and then you've got the no call. How does this team come back from this? It's a young team, man. I heard Sean Payton's gone, right? I mean, like, I don't know if he's on a beach or something. He had been. Mickey Loomis said yesterday he hadn't seen him since Sunday.
Well, he better be back because he has to talk to the media one more time by NFL rules. I mean, he doesn't always go by the book on this, but he's supposed to talk to us one more time before he leaves.
I can see wanting to get away and decompress after this.
I'm understanding.
The players as well. Okay. How do you? I would use it as a motivation tool. Okay, us against them, young team. How do they come back from this?
Well, they still have Drew Brees, and free agency starts very soon, and there's some big guys on the market that they can pick up. And I know a lot of people were saying, but what are they going to do in the draft? I'm throwing it out here. Brees only has one more season left, probably. Okay, he's coming back, by the way. You're not in it like this.
No doubt.
There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to try to get back into the first round because this is it. This is the last dance. I think Brees is done after this season. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I think they're going to try to get back in that first round and make moves to get back up there again. They still have a second-round pick. You can bundle that with the first-rounder in 2020. This is it. Go for broke, man. That's what they did this year. Now, Davenport, maybe he's a second-year guy because obviously he was a disappointment this year.
He was.
But I think they're going to try to trade in back into the first round. Obviously, they need a tight end bad. But if you got your Brees, you have the offensive line's all coming back. I think they can get Ingram at a good price. I think Ingram's going to come back, and you get another corner. You get a tight end. Mickey said yesterday that they're fine in the salary cap when he was in Senior Bowl. So
$19 million right now under. The big thing is Brees has a $33 million cap number. They will extend that contract to be able to allow that to be put over a couple years. I'm going to get into that in a moment. Gus? How do they come back from not one but two devastating ends to the season?
Yeah, that's a question. I mean, look, at least in the Minnesota game, that kept you from a chance to even try to play for a Super Bowl by playing in the conference championship game. But I almost think the way you come back, I almost think you have to revisit 2009, guys. You remember the motto, the T-shirts that everybody bought? I still have one. Finish strong. This team needs to. 2019 to me is finish strong 2.0. This team hadn't done that. They've gotten close to doing that. Now, again, we can do the call. We can do all that. Minnesota, they didn't score a point in halftime. You know, they were shut. They didn't come out and play well in that game in the first half. Had to come back, didn't make the play at the end. You can say it was a fluke, didn't make the play at the end. Philadelphia, you're down 14-0 to start it. You finished 4-2. I get the last game. It was a preseason game. I understand that. We talked during the break. The offensive numbers didn't go. What happened? They need to look at what happened. Now, health of the offensive line, I'd put up there at the very top.
Really hurt.
And some of the things, I referenced the Titanic as an analogy earlier this week. It wasn't the initial hit that sunk it, right? I've watched all the documentaries, right? It's the rivets. It's the bulkheads weren't high enough. A lot of things led to that sinking. You mentioned tight end. What did they try to do at the beginning of the season? They tried to get Jimmy Graham. They went for broke to go get an effective pass rusher, which didn't happen this year. They went and got Kirk Coleman thinking they can help there. That didn't happen here. So a lot of these little fractures, then you add the injuries, it wound up hurting them at the end. And they still had a chance if the call was made. So they're good. So how do you move on, Eric? You don't overreact. You're still a playoff contending team. But you have to make darn sure, as Garland just said, because this is it, guys. I mean, y'all saw the game. Drew he's got a year, and he's going to need help. Because I think the biggest difference was when the pocket had so much green around them, they put up 55 points. The same receivers and tight ends we're banging on now, the undrafted rookie free agents, caught 4 touchdowns against the Falcons on Thursday night. Why? because Breeze had all day to throw the
Right,
football.
to go through his progression.
When they got banged up, I mean, it was a mash unit. 4 out of 5 offensive linemen were on the injury report. So when that happened, age hurts you there, right? The arm isn't that strong. The quickness isn't that much. So 2.5 seconds to throw it, and now I got to do it in 1.9. That's a big difference in the NFL, and I think that was the issue.
In addition to what you mentioned, again, tight end, obviously another receiver. Rankins has a torn Achilles.
That's a huge thing.
He's
He's not ready for the start of the season.
Back for the start of the season. Okay, an offensive guard tackle. I mean, they have some needs here. They're going to have to do some maneuvering under the cap, and Loomis is the master at that. Okay, to be able to get more money. And I agree with you. I think they're going to go for broke. Before I go to the phone lines, what do you do with Teddy Bridgewater? If you're telling me
Teddy's gone,
that Breeze has got one more year, what do you do with Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy Bridgewater wants to start next year, and I think he's going to make starters money either with the Bengals, the Redskins, possibly the Jags. We don't know what the Giants are going to do, if they're going to ride with Eli one more year. I think one whole year on the bench is enough for him. I mean, I think he's going to be out of here because I don't think the Saints can afford to keep him.
We got calls on the line with Bridgewater.
It's a big question, isn't it? What do you do? I honestly don't know. No, because, I mean, again.
You can't put all that money in Bridgewater's basket if you're still going to pay Breeze, right? And then you still have, wait a minute. By the way, Michael Thomas is a restricted free agent, right?
Oh,
so
it's coming. Paydays are coming.
Right. So if a team goes out and gives him a mega deal, what are the Saints going to do? They got a match.
I was played a what-if game where you'll go get Antonio Brown.
Yeah. No. Well,
no.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Let's head to the phone lines. Wallace is in New Orleans. Wallace, welcome. Hey, Wallace.
I tell you what you can do with Teddy Bridgewater. You can trade him in for a first-round pick. And what about Tommy Lee Lewis? He should say he got a concussion for that hit, right? So they have to do something behind that if he got a concussion for that hit.
Right.
I sit back and listen at y'all.
I don't think he was concussed. Some have said that if he would have laid down on the turf
I think he was dinged the way he popped up.
Yeah, that he popped up. When he popped up, that kind of gave the officials the way out. Guys, first of all, Bridgewater's unrestricted free agent. Right. You can't trade him.
Right. Yeah. They could have traded him during the season and got something for it.
Right.
But then that would have put you in pretty bad shape at the backup quarterback position there. I know that the Mormon Missile had some pretty good passes at the back end of the year.
But he ain't the answer.
No, they're going to have to bring another quarterback. It's got to be better than Tom Savage.
Right.
He was bad last year.
Larry is in Kenner. Hey, Larry, welcome. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Eric. Thanks for taking my call, man. Long time no see.
How you doing?
I want to ask y'all three guys a question, but first I want to congratulate our New Orleans Saints and thank them for bringing us to where they brought us this year. And they one hell of a team. We love our Saints. But my question to y'all three guys, I'll hang up after I say it. Do y'all really think the Patriots can win this Super Bowl with Roger Goodell, stepchildren, the Los Angeles Rams? Yeah. Do y'all really think the Patriots can win that Super Bowl?
Larry, thanks.
Thank y'all.
I do.
Yeah, I do. They're the favorite in the game right now.
Right.
I do on this principle. Every time I say they can't, they wind up doing it. And look, Belichick is Saban, right? Give him 2 weeks to figure out this offense.
And not just that, they got the GOAT behind center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, that game wasn't. I mean, what they did in Kansas City,
amazing,
impressive.
Yes, no doubt. Tom is in Kenner. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric, how you doing? I want to make 3 quick points, if you don't mind.
Please.
Yeah, I think what upset me was the amount of time they spent on how the Saints could have won versus the issue of the call. Even the players. I mean, the players spent the whole season trying to win this game, and one call didn't make a difference. I understand the Saints could have played better. Trees could have played better, but it's the issue. And now you guys are talking about more missed calls. That was the real problem. Number 2, do you think that it would have made a difference if Tom Benson was still around? You know, like a Jerry Jones, would that have made a difference, or did it hurt us that Gail Benson is a new owner for the most part? And lastly, I think it was the Dallas game when Breeze rolled out and ran for a first down. He jumped and fell kind of funny. Do you think maybe his arm got hurt just reaching? I don't know, maybe there.
Okay.
I'll hang up and listen.
All right, Tom Benson made a difference, you think? If he was around?
I don't think the calls are being made based on the owners.
No.
And if anything, it's probably more prestigious that you have a female owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about the injury? Now, he's not going to the Pro Bowl. Some have said he's got a foot injury. That could be a faux foot injury. That could be real. I don't think it is. I just think he's getting older.
And he's burned out, man. That's a tough season, man. Yeah. He just needs to just chill out this week. I know the family's still in New Orleans this week, but I think they're probably going to, they usually leave.
Right.
I don't know how many of your viewers know this, but they live in San Diego in the off season. You know, his kids are in one school in New Orleans and they go to another school in San Diego. They'll probably leave next week. He just needed to just decompress, man. Yeah. That's just a gut punch to the highest manner.
Injury?
Look, like I said, I talked about during the middle of the break there was a hit that people are showing on Twitter all the time against the Falcons in the Thanksgiving game that he was never the same. For one reason or another, the stats were drastic, different.
But was that the offensive line or an injury?
That's what I'm getting at. It could be a lot of different factors on there. You know, I mean, like I said, I walked out of that game on Sunday and in a couple other games, and when the Philly game, when you're seeing the underthrows and you're seeing the accuracy not sort of being there, it's hard to say it's not. But yeah, I absolutely think the line has a huge factor on that.
So do I. Wayne is in Picayune, Mississippi. Wayne, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank y'all for taking the call.
Thank you.
You know, why don't they look at the CFL, because they have a rule now in the CFL where all pass interferences can go before review.
No, it's true. And look, it's been brought up on my show, Gus, on your show, right, huh? As well. No, I think it's a valid point, Wayne. And I think that, again, if the CFL can do it, why can't the NFL?
Which is why, again, I'm like John Elway and all these guys are going, oh, you can't do it. It happens and exists. Stop acting like you can't do it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Who thought our neighbors to the north would be more progressive than us when it comes to rules in football there? I mean, maybe I should pay attention to the Grey Cup more this year.
I think I may. And our final call of the night. John is on the North Shore. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Okay. As far as the flag should have been thrown. Thousands of people saw that. The head-to-head contact was enough to throw the flag. Then they could have reviewed it, and they would have saw where the ball was, and they saw everything they needed. As far as overtime goes, we should have learned our lesson. College overtime is ridiculous, okay? People just kicking field goals right and left. If LSU won the Texas A&M game, they won it in regular time, real time. And then they lost it in overtime. And you talk about wasting time, it could take, a half hour, 40 minutes to do a college-type overtime. The pros should just give every team one possession of the ball. Not the first touchdown, was at least give every team one possession.
Okay.
But as far as throwing the flag, thousands of people saw that. There's no debate there. There was 2 infractions to the rule. Throw the flag. Oh, now we can look at it and see exactly what happened, and then they make the call.
I don't think we disagree, John. Guys?
You got smart viewers and listeners, Eric. I'm not going to disagree with anything you just said.
Nor will I. Gus?
On the money. I mean, look, like I said, it's hard to even try to lodge. I went with maybe they didn't see the football. It's just hard. I mean, it's just you watch that and you look at it.
You want to believe that, again, there's integrity and it wasn't done on purpose.
We talked about already in almost 60 minutes, though, a number of times where they missed a bad call. I think, again, it goes to what I said on our show on Friday when Wade Phillips came out there and said we're going to be aggressive. And what did Sean McVay said when asked about the no call? He said they let the guys play. So that's a head coach who's pretty smart.
Right.
Got the sense and feel. The officials let them play. And they took advantage of that.
Agreed.
Right?
But you can't put an emphasis on helmet to helmet and talk about player safety and then miss a call like that.
They missed a lot of helmet to helmets this year. I remember Alvin
I was going to say all year.
At the Cowboys
Dallas.
Right. No, they've done it quite a few times.
Here's what's going on. People are saying helmet to helmet.
Right.
What's happened, that Kamara one in Dallas, the one you're talking about, and even in the one in this one, the one to Josh Hill that knocked him out, it's a forearm.
Right.
It's a forearm to the head.
Any contact to the helmet.
Jalen Smith's MO has been the forearm to the head, not necessarily just the helmet.
Gus Kattengell, Garland, Gillen, thanks for being on our panel tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, there's a rebroadcast of this program each and every Friday night right here on WLE at 10 p.m. Also, you can catch us statewide 9 o'clock on Pelican Sports Television every Friday night. Catch me on the radio, Sports 1280, 101.1 FM HD2 in the iHeart Radio app. That is noon to 2 weekdays. Also, you can listen live, download the podcast at ericasher.com. All the previous episodes of Inside New Orleans Sports can be seen at ericasher.com as well. Special thanks again to our underwriters, also to Gus Kattengell, Garland Gillen, and also to our WLE production staff, Ron Yeager, Jim Dotson, Alex Chacon, Naila Jones, and my director, William Hill. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week for another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports.